Hey everybody, welcome to my video on using the chain rule. As you know from my channel, I mostly do econ videos, but what we're doing here is applicable to anywhere else. This video is more about calculus than econ. So what's the chain rule? The chain rule is a trick for taking the derivative of a function of functions. So for example, I've got some function f of x, but it is a combination of two different functions. F of g of x, where little f of x is a function and little g of x is a function. G of x is input in there. So if that's the case, then what is the derivative of big F with respect to x? And that's the kind of question we will answer with the chain rule. Now I will go through this and write out the general rule first, and I'm going to apply it to an example from one of my macroeconomics videos. And so what's this going to look like? We're going to take derivative of big F by first taking the derivative of the main function, the little f prime of g of x, and then we're going to also multiply this by the derivative of the inside, g prime of x. And that's our chain rule in a nutshell. We're going to multiply for the outer function, the blue function, gets the derivative, and then gets multiplied by whatever the derivative of the inside function is. So, on to an example. In my steady state macroecon example, I had some k star, which was equal to s over delta plus n to the 1 over 1 minus alpha. So if I were to look at this, I could say, what are the two functions here? I could say that f of x is equal to x to the 1 over 1 minus alpha, where x is all that stuff right there. And if I were to look at g of x, let's pick a variable. Let's talk about the variable s. G of s is equal to s over delta plus n. Alright, so what is the derivative of the steady state capital K star? Well, I guess with respect to a change in s, dk star ds is equal to f prime of s over delta plus n, that's a delta, times g prime of s over delta plus n. That's it in a nutshell, right? So what's f prime? Well, that's going to be 1 over 1 minus alpha times s over delta plus n, all raised to the alpha over 1 minus alpha. I used my power rule there. 1 over 1 minus alpha minus 1 is equal to that. So I just subtracted 1 from the power. So this piece is my f prime of x. It's my outside equation, the derivative of it with respect to all the inside stuff together. And then the next piece we're going to do is we're going to take the derivative of the g of x on the inside. Okay, so let's multiply, g prime of s, well that's just going to be 1 over delta plus n multiplied by everything else. And that bit is your g prime of x. And then we could simplify this further if we wanted to. I think the way I wrote it down in my video, it came out to being 1 over s minus alpha s times s over delta plus n to the 1 over 1 minus alpha. Alright, let's do a second example just to firm this up a little bit. Let's keep the same k star and bring this piece down. And we can also keep this f function. Because the outer function is still the same. All right, so that bit's still the same, but what if I am now interested in not s, but in the variable n, where g of n is equal to s over delta plus n. The beginning of this will still be the same, but my g prime is now different. My derivative of g with respect to n is now going to be, and as you do our quotient rule, which I don't know if I've made a video about that yet. Maybe I should. Delta plus n squared. So before, our g prime was this, because we're taking the derivative with respect to s. Now, derivative of g with respect to n is this, because we're interested in a different variable. So, to weaponize this and use it, derivative of k star with respect to n is equal to f prime of s over delta plus n. I write f prime loosely. Technically it should be del f del n, but you know, deal with it. And then g prime of s over delta plus n. And this comes out to be 1 over 1 minus alpha times s over delta plus n to the alpha over 1 minus alpha times the dg dn, this piece here. And so that's going to simplify to being minus 1 over 1 minus alpha times delta plus n. Wow, that looks like an h. Delta plus n, all multiplied by s over delta plus n to the 1 over 1 minus alpha. So there's two examples of using the chain rule on the same equation. You got basically just look at your two equations and you have to multiply your derivatives. I hope this is helpful. If not, you know, go watch a calculus video. I'm an econ professor. I'm sure they have some smooth way of explaining it that I didn't. Good luck, you guys. Thanks for watching. Happy econing. Or mathing, if you're not here for econ.